As long as mentation goes on, there is materialism. When there is no rising of discrimination, the world is seen as of mind itself. 67. Coming means the originating of the objective world as effect, and going is the not seeing too of the effect. When one thoroughly understands the coming and going, discrimination ceases. 68. Eternity and non-eternity, the made and not made, this world and that world. All these and other ideas belong to materialism. 74. At that time again, Mahamati the Bodhisattva-Mahasattva said this to the Blessed One. Nirvana is talked of by the Blessed One. What does this term designate? What is the nirvana that is discriminated by all the philosophers? Said the Blessed One. Then, Mahamati, listen well and reflect well within yourself. I will tell you. 100 Certainly, Blessed One. Said Mahamati the Bodhisattva-Mahasattva and gave ear to the Blessed One. The Blessed One said this to him. As to such nirvanas as are discriminated by the philosophers, there are really none in existence. Some philosophers conceive nirvana to be found where a system of mentation no more operates owing to the cessation of the Skandhas, Dhatus, and Ayatanas, or to the indifference to the objective world, or to the recognition that all things are impermanent, or where there is no recollection of the past and present, just as when a lamp is extinguished, or when a seed is burnt, or when a fire goes out, because then there is the cessation of all the substrate, which is explained by the philosophers as the non-rising of discrimination. But, Mahamati, Nirvana does not consist in mere annihilation. Again, some explain deliverance by going to another quarter and abode, as when a wind stops blowing, when the discrimination of objects ceases. Again, some philosophers explain deliverance by the getting rid of the dualistic view of knower and known. Some conceive deliverance to be the cessation of discrimination where one sees permanence and impermanence. Again, some explain the discrimination of various forms as the bearer of pain, and yet not understanding that there is nothing but what is seen of the mind itself, are alarmed by the notion of form, and seek their happiness in formlessness. 1 In this they cherish the notion of nirvana. Again, some conceive this to be nirvana, that in consideration of generality and individuality recognizable in all things inner and outer, they are never destroyed, maintaining their being throughout the past, present, and future. Again, some conceive that nirvana is an ego soul, a being, a vital force, a nourisher, a supreme spirit, and the indestructibility of all things. Again, Mahamati, some philosophers owing to their foolishness declare this to be nirvana. That there is a primary substance, there is a supreme soul, and they are seen differently by each, and that they produce all things from the transformations of the qualities. Some conceive nirvana to consist in the extinction of merit and demerit. Some in the destruction of the passions by means of knowledge. Some in regarding Isvara as the free creator of the world. Some think that the world is born of interaction and that there is no special cause other than this cause. And clinging to it they have no awakening because of stupidity, and they conceive nirvana to consist in this non-awakening. Again, Mahamati, some philosophers conceive nirvana to be the attaining of the true path. Some cherish the thought of nirvana as where there is the union of qualities and their owner, from which there is oneness and otherness, bothness and not bothness. Some imagine that nirvana is where they see the self-nature of things existing all by its own nature, such as the variegated feathers of the peacock, variously formed precious stones, or the pointedness of a thorn. Some, Mahamati, conceive nirvana in the recognition of the 25 tattvas. Some in the king's observance of the teaching of the 6 virtues. Some, seeing that time is a creator and that the rise of the world depends on time, conceive that nirvana consists in recognizing this fact. Again, Mahamati, some conceive being to be nirvana, some non-being. While some conceive that all things and nirvana are not to be distinguished one from the other. All these views of nirvana severally advanced by the philosophers with their reasonings are not in accord with logic, nor are they acceptable to the wise. Mahamati, they all conceive nirvana dualistically and in a causal connection. By these discriminations, Mahamati, all philosophers imagine nirvana, but there is nothing rising, nothing disappearing here, and there is no room for discrimination. Mahamati, each philosopher relying on his own textbook from which he draws his understanding and intelligence, examines the subject and sins against the truth, because the truth is not such as is imagined by him. His reasoning ends in setting the mind to wandering about and becoming confused, as nirvana is not to be found anywhere. Again, Mahamati, there are others who, roaring with their all-knowledge as a lion roars, explain nirvana in the following wise. That is, nirvana is where it is recognized that there is nothing but what is seen of the mind itself. Where there is no attachment to external objects, existent or non-existent. Where, getting rid of the 4 propositions, there is an insight into the abode of reality as it is. Where, recognizing the nature of the self-mind, one does not cherish the dualism of discrimination. Where grasped and grasping are no more obtainable. Where all logical measures are not seized upon as it is realized that they never assert themselves. Where the idea of truth is not adhered to but treated with indifference because of its causing a bewilderment. Where, by the attainment of the exalted Dharma which lies within the inmost recesses of one's being, the 2 forms of egolessness are recognized, the 2 forms of passions subsided, and the 2 kinds of hindrance cleared away. Where the stages of bodhisattvahood are passed one after another until the stage of tathagatahood is attained. In which all the samadhis beginning with the mayapama are realized, and the citta, manas, and manovijnana are put away. One here indeed they say nirvana is to be found. 69. Nirvana is severally conceived by the philosophers. But theirs is no more than imagination, it is not the way of emancipation. 70. Released of bound and binding and free from all expediencies, the philosophers imagine they are emancipated, but emancipation is not to be found there. 71. Divided into many a school are the systems of the philosophers. There is thus no emancipation in him, because of their imagination stupidly carried on. 72. Wrongly imbued with the ideas of cause and effect, all the philosophers are beguiled, and there is thus no emancipation for them who are of the dualistic school of being and non-being. 73. The ignorant are delighted with discoursing and false reasoning, but they are unable to raise any great intelligence towards truth. Discoursing is a source of suffering in the triple world, while truth is the extinguisher of suffering. 74. Like an image seen in a mirror, which is not real, the mind is seen by the ignorant in a dualistic form in the mirror of habit energy. 75. When it is not thoroughly understood that there is nothing but what is seen of the mind itself, dualistic discriminations take place. When it is thoroughly understood that there is nothing but what is seen of the mind itself, discrimination ceases. 76. Mind is no other than multiplicity, and yet it is devoid of qualified and qualifying. Forms are visible, but not in the way as seen discriminated by the ignorant. 77. The triple world is no other than discrimination. There are no external objects. Discrimination sees multiplicity. This is not understood by the ignorant. 78. The truth is told differently, discriminated in the different sutras, because of names and notions. Yet apart from words no meaning is attainable. 75. At that time Mahamati the Bodhisattva-Mahasattva said this to him. Tell me, Blessed One, Tathagata, Arhat, fully enlightened one, concerning the self-nature of Buddhahood, whereby I and other Bodhisattva-Mahasattvas, understanding well what constitutes the self-nature one of the Tathagata, may have both ourselves and others awakened in the truth. The Blessed One said, Then, Mahamati, ask me as you desire, according to which I will answer. Mahamati replied, Blessed One, is the Tathagata, the Arhat, the fully enlightened one, to be considered unmade or made, an effect or a cause, predicated or predicating, an expression or that which is expressed, knowledge or that which is knowable? Is the Blessed One different from all these expressions, or not? The Blessed One said, If the Tathagata, Arhat, fully enlightened one is to be described by those expressions, he is neither made nor unmade, neither an effect nor a cause. Why? Because the error of dualism would here be committed. If, Mahamati, the Tathagata is something made, he is impermanent. If he is impermanent, anything made would be a Tathagata, which is not desired by myself and other Tathagatas. If he is something unmade, his self-essence being attainment, all the preparations brought forward for the realization of Tathagatahood will be useless, like a hare's horns, or a barren woman's child, because of their never having been made. That which is neither an effect nor a cause, Mahamati, is neither a being nor a non-being. And that which is neither a being nor a non-being is outside the four propositions. The four propositions, Mahamati, belong to worldly usage. That which is outside the four propositions is no more than a word, like a barren woman's child. Mahamati, a barren woman's child is a mere word and is beyond the four propositions. As it is beyond them, the wise know it to be not subject to measurement. So is the meaning of all the terms concerning the Tathagata to be understood by the wise. It is told by me that all things are egoless. By this is meant, Mahamati, that they are devoid of selfhood. Hence this egolessness. What I mean is that all things have each its own individuality which does not belong to another, as in the case of a cow and a horse. For example, Mahamati, the being of a cow is not of horse nature, nor is the being of a horse of cow nature. This exemplifies the case of neither being nor non-being. Each of them is not without its own individuality. Each is such as it is by its own nature. In the same way, Mahamati, things are not each without its own individuality. They are such as they are, and thus the ignorant and simple-minded fail to understand the signification of egolessness by reason of their discrimination. Indeed, they are not free from discrimination. The same is to be known exactly about all things being empty, unborn, and without self-nature. In the same way, the Tathagata and the Skandhas are neither not different nor different. If he is not different from the Skandhas, he is impermanent, as the Skandhas are something made. If they are different, they are two separate entities. The case is like a cow's horns. As they look alike, they are not different. As the one is short and the other long, they are different. This can be said of all things. Mahamati, the right horn of a cow is thus different from her left horn. So is the left from the right. The one is longer or shorter than the other. The same can be said of varieties of colors. Thus, the Tathagata and the Skandhas are neither different nor not different the one from the other. In the same way, the Tathagata is neither different nor not different from emancipation. He can be described in terms of emancipation. If the Tathagata is different from emancipation, he partakes of the nature of a material object. If he does, he is impermanent. If he is not different, there will be no distinction in the attainments of the yogins, and, Mahamati, a distinction is seen in the yogins. Therefore, the Tathagata is neither different nor not different from emancipation. In the same way, knowledge is neither different nor not different from that which is known. That, Mahamati, which is neither eternal nor not eternal, neither effect nor cause, neither effect producing nor not effect producing, neither knowledge nor that which is knowable, neither predicated nor predicating, neither the Skandhas nor different from the Skandhas, neither that which is expressed nor expression, nor bound up with oneness and otherness, with bothness and not bothness. This is something removed from all measurement. That which is removed from all measurement is not expressible in words. One that which is not expressible one is something unborn. That which is unborn is not subject to destruction. That which is not subject to destruction is like space, and, Mahamati, space is neither an effect nor a cause. That which is neither an effect nor a cause is something unconditioned. That which is unconditioned goes beyond all idle reasonings. That which goes beyond all idle reasonings, that is the Tathagata. Mahamati, this is the essence of perfect enlightenment. This is the self-nature of Buddhahood which is removed from all senses and measurements. So it is said. 79. That which is released from senses and measurements is neither an effect nor a cause. It has nothing to do with knowledge and that which is to be known. It is free from predicated and predicating. 80. There is something which is nowhere to be seen by anybody as the Skandhas, causation, enlightenment. Of that which is nowhere to be seen by anybody, what description can we make? 81. It is not something made nor unmade. It is neither an effect nor a cause. It is neither the Skandhas nor not Skandhas, nor is it other than the combination. 82. There is something that is not to be seen by the discrimination of its being, nor is it to be known as non-existent. Such is the self-essence of all things. 83. Accompanied by being, there is non-being. Accompanied by non-being there is being. As thus non-being is not to be known by itself, being is not to be discriminated. 84. Those who cling to mere words, not knowing what is meant by an ego-soul and egolessness, are immersed in dualism. They are corrupted and lead the ignorant to corruption. 85. When they see my religion liberated from all detriments, they behold properly, they do not defile the world leaders. 76. At that time again, Mahamati the Bodhisattva-Mahasattva said this to the Blessed One. Tell me, Blessed One. Tell me, Sugata. Mention is made in the canonical